All right, so we all got to admit at this point Drake is taking it too far. And in fact, if it wasn't on YouTube, if I wasn't on YouTube, I would most likely be playing Not Like Us or Euphoria right now. In fact, Euphoria seemed like it was a lot more prophetic compared to Not Like Us. Now, with that being said, I'm starting to see the issue that Drake wants to be Kendrick. He wants the love and acceptance that Kendrick has around the world, especially in the US. Now, I also saw that somebody said that, Drake is a African American also. And no, he's not. He's a Canadian American. On top of that, he's a Jewish American. He was raised by his Jewish mother. So even though his dad, I think, is from some major city in America, he didn't live there. He didn't grow up around his father for the most part, right? So he knows Canadian culture and Jewish culture. And you're seeing that translate right now when it comes to the way he is acting and moving right now. Most rap beats, after they are over with, this is done. Win, lose, draw, it's over. You move on with life, right? What was it? Nas and Jay-Z. Big rap beef, Nas won. If you say Nas didn't win, you're silly. Nas won. What ended up happening? Everybody went back to their normal lives. Not a big deal. There was no lawsuits, none of this begging or crying and feeling sorry for you, all this other kind of stuff, right? What was it? Drake and Meek Mill. Drake won that. Everybody went back to their normal lives. So when rap beef happens or rap beefs happen, 9 times out of 10, everybody's alive, happy to move on with their lives. The only exception with that when it came to Tupac and Biggie, but after that, everybody kind of should realize it's just words. It's not that serious. But with Drake, it's like it's life or death. And he's trying to impede in something that's not anything his business. Let's say if Kendrick Lamar's kids were not his, right? That's fine. He still chose to raise them and accept them. Completely his choice and an honorable thing to do. So you don't need a DNA test for that, right? You don't need to dig up allegations of DV. That's none of your business. If that was true, let's say if it was, if they did the work to rope through it to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen again, that's their choice. They are normalizing a healthy relationship within a black family, something Drake knows nothing about because he's too busy being out here from woman to woman to woman to woman, and God knows how many kids he has, right? So this is what I think Drake really wants right here.
To the motherfucking side, we got 4 corners. One's right there, one's right there, one's right there, and the last one is right there. This is the time when my dogs turn the fuck up. Open that shit and let's get started.
And keep in mind, that's him trying to get a mosh pit going. And the main reason I say that's what he wanted. Let's take a look at this at a Kendrick concert. Natural, organic, something Drake would never have. Oh, sorry. I had to turn off the music because, copyright. But you see people having mosh pits, they dancing, they having a good time. Drake doesn't have that, even at Kendrick's pop-up concert. Heck, I'll even take it another step further. The what was it called? The Creed edit. The Creed edit that made it very popular on TikTok right now. What's going on with that? That was a Kendrick song, and it changed the game. Anything that's Kendrick related, that's in a very authentic, genuine way, changes people, changes stuff. Drake doesn't have that. It's easy for artists to make a hit, right? There are plenty of artists that have refused to make hits because they want to put out their own organic, genuine music compared to always just being a hit-making machine. Drake doesn't have that. Drake doesn't have that soul or integrity to want to sit there and put his own stuff out there. Now, here's my thing. I didn't always dislike Drake. In fact, I even said it before. When Drake first came out, now never mind the fact that he was a Degrassi actor, that's fine. I thought he should have went the acting route. Personally, and he would have done an amazing job, in my opinion, if he was at the acting. But he chose to go to music. He was mentored by Lil Wayne and Young Money, and and that's fine. But what ended up happening with that, though? His first song that came out that Drake did was, I think it was called Replacement Girl. And I loved Replacement Girl. He wasn't trying to be hard. He wasn't trying to be grimy. He wasn't trying to act like he was from the streets. He was just a guy that was just rapping a song that people could jam to. You know, he was the guy with the melodies. So when I saw that, I was like, man, this is really good. And I remember I was telling people back in the day, I would say, hey, you know who Drake is? Like, nah. And I was like, you know, on the show Degrassi? They was like, yeah. You know the guy in the wheelchair? Yeah. He's a rapper. He came out with a song. It's really good. And they all laughed at me at the time. And I was like, no, I'm being for real. Go listen to Replacement Girl. That's the only genuine Drake song that's popularized that I still rock with. Anything else I feel is fake. So whenever I stopped listening to Drake completely is whenever he came out with that song, Started from the Bottom, Now We're Here. Sir, you're from Canada. With a Jewish mother, grew up in an upper middle class house and an actor. You've been famous the majority of your life and have money. There is nothing about you that started from the bottom. And once I heard that made me stop being a Drake fan. Now, unlike the other artists out there in the world that can sit here and just say like, yeah, I did this and this, that, and there's no proof, right? Drake doesn't have that luxury. He's always been in front of a camera. And before he even started doing Degrassi, if I remember correctly, he was doing commercials. And nobody wanted to tell me I had the wrong thumbnail up, but that's all right though. I'll get that corrected. He was doing commercials. So he always had money. He always had access. He always had resources. So there is nothing about this situation that makes sense to me. He's not moving like a black American. He's not moving like a black person who just lost a fight. He's moving like a person that lost a fight and now want to sue you. You know, there's an honor between men whenever you fight and that you lose and you win, but the fact that you stuck up for yourself will respect you, right? But whenever you sit here, you instigate the fight, you start the fight, and then you lose the fight, and then you want to cry to your mom, to the police, to the lawyers, then we're not going to respect you. And you see more and more of his supporters, especially his most recent lawsuit and discovery asking for the DNA test and past DV allegations and all that other BS, it's starting to dwindle down. His fan base is slowly starting to realize what kind of a man he really is. Drake is all about the money. Kendrick's about the people. That's why you see so many organic expressions of joy whenever you hear a Kendrick song. Drake is for the moment. Kendrick is for a lifetime. Anyways, that's just my opinion of it. There is another TikToker I saw. She made a pretty good video. I'm going to go ahead and play that too. Give me one moment.
So I found it interesting that Drake decided to go on his Instagram and complain about being suppressed. And I think that people are just not being honest with him about reality. So I'm going to do so right now. Let's go.
What did I miss?
So you missed the opportunity to just shut the fuck up for a year. Had you not been on your Instagram doing childish shit all year long, showing up at DeMar DeRozan's game to softly mouth the word or even talking about people being at the pop-up, people would have been more interested in hearing what you had to say, like glued to it.
What did I miss?
So I'm guessing fans. Yeah, I'm going to say fans, because considering you didn't make #1 on Billboard and then you fell to #8 and now they're projecting you won't even be in the top 10 next week, I'm guessing you're missing fans. And so the question should be, where'd they go?
What did I miss?
Ooh, yeah, those 2 million streams from the first week to the second week. Yeah, that's a lot of people saying there's no replay value. Ooh.
What did I miss?
Ooh, miscalculated interest. Yeah, I don't think people give a fuck about a fake tough guy anymore. You literally have an open rap beef lawsuit. Like, even look at LeBron. You sent DJ Academics to go after him and his marriage, and they're closer than ever, vibing out to your ops song calling you a pedo. So, yeah, you miscalculated interest.
He miscalculated a lot, but I like that Summer right there. Go check out her channel, her TikTok channel, excuse me. I was going to go over, do I still have it pulled up? I don't have it pulled up right now, and I don't feel like looking it back up, to be honest with you. I was going to go over the lawsuit allegations. Did I close it? Hang on, I didn't close it. Where'd it go? Actually, you know what? I do got it still up. Is this the right one? Yeah, okay. Let me get my screen pulled up.
So I found it interesting that Drake...
Okay. So originally, I didn't think this was real, the whole entire lawsuit. I was like, okay, people are just trolling at this point. There is no way that they're asking for this stuff about Kendrick, right? It's page 24. Was it on page 18, if I looked at it correctly? Okay, let's see. And a lot of this stuff you get through Court Listener. It pulls up all the cases on there. It's pretty useful. But here we go. What was it? I think it started document request number 50. From January 1st, 2014, to present all documents, communication relating to allegations of DV, violence against women, and other form of violence by Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. Excuse me. I didn't know his last name was Duckworth. That's pretty cool. All right, let's see. 51, January 1st, 2019. All present, all document communication related to Dave Isaac Freely, a.k.a. Dave Free, and his relationship with Kendrick Lamar Duck and Kendrick Lamar Duck's wife and children. Again, what does that matter? This has nothing to do with UMG. He's trying to get under Kendrick's skin, and he's trying to get a reaction. And he already got a reaction once, and it's stuck with him. The whole entire world is jamming out to him being a pedo, a cheese pizza lover. So what's going to happen next, right? He already made accusations at first, assuming that it was Kendrick that tried to pew-pew his house, which it wasn't. I'm just saying Drake may want to tread lightly because he hasn't been in America in a long time. He's not missed, by my opinion. But this is going to be one of these things that California people, they worship Kendrick. They worship that man. And you're coming at him now? Boy. Let's see. All documents communication related to vandalism occurred at Drake's OVO clothing store in London. I didn't know there was a clothing store in London that had damage. Again, I'm not an OVO person, so whatever. Let's see. All documents communication independent. I think that's the only thing that stood out when it came to Kendrick directly when he asked about this. And again, I got this through courtlistener.com. So that's just my opinion of the situation. Drake is shoveling his own grave. He really is. Because if you really think about it, if he can ask that of them, and let's say they do provide it or they choose not to, whatever, what's stopping from UMG or Kendrick asking Drake all his text message and phone call correspondence between him and Millie Bobby Brown? So here's the thing. I said Millie Bobby Brown in particular because it's on record. It's on video of those two being friends and him texting her, calling her when she was underage. I think she was like 14, I want to say, when they were talking. And there's no state in America where that's legal. Well, I think they passed a new law recently. I got to look into that. But as of then, at that time frame, there was no state in America where it's okay for a grown man to communicate to a teenage girl. And I think Millie Bobby Brown said something along the lines, what happens in the DM stays in the DMs. Again, if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he slid to Lil Tay's DMs. The way he's been going, the way he's been operating, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried. Anyways, that's just my opinion of it. You got to be careful what you ask for. And all this hurt, hate, and envy is going to end up taking him out for good. Be careful what you ask for, Drake. I know he's doing this to try to get a reaction out of Kendrick. Everybody knows that. But Kendrick exposed him once. You don't want him to put the final nail in the coffin. Anyways, you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you. Bye.